Good morning, guys. Welcome in. Welcome. How is everybody doing? I heard you guys had a nice day yesterday. I heard everybody had a nice session yesterday. I'm happy to hear it. And I'm back and I'm ready to, I'm back at the horn. We are back. I didn't have a single trade yesterday. Actually, that's a lie. I bought some Amazon shares. I bought a little SoFi. I did a little bit of some portfolio management yesterday. So I was still there, but no day trades for me. Nobody believed it. Welcome in though, guys. I hope everybody had a nice session yesterday. And we're ready to dive in today. We have a lot to go over this morning. And I'm going to talk to you guys about some things today, about some longer term ideas. We're also going to talk about the shorter term thesis. Okay. That's my belief. Okay. So we're going to have a nice pre-market session. We're back. Am I going to an ugly sweater party later? You know what? Why don't you give me the invite? Because I didn't get the invite yet, but I know I'm ready for it, right? All right, guys, welcome in. It's 8:35 in the morning. We have no time for tomfoolery. Let's dive into our charts. We have a lot to go over this morning. We missed yesterday's session, so there's a lot of talk and discussion today. So just bear with me as we go through it, right? Let's jump into it. Okay, so today obviously is Tuesday, November the 25th. Okay, we have some earnings reports coming up. Yesterday we had ZM. Zoom was probably an interesting one yesterday. Besides that, in terms of earnings reports, it's pretty quiet. Okay, we have Baba here in the pre-market, Neo here in the pre-market, Abercrombie and Fitch. Who's trading Abercrombie and Fitch? Does anybody shop at Abercrombie and Fitch? I remember I used to shop at Abercrombie and Fitch, and then it turned into no good. And then I went there the other day, and actually it was kind of nice. They have good clothes now. It was not so good before. It used to be for kids, right? And then you go back there now as an adult, and you're like, wow, okay, it's not that bad, right? I feel like they've changed they've changed it. If you're saying no, trust me, they've changed it. Go walk into a store, and you're gonna see it's actually not as bad as it used to be. Anyway, so as someone said, is that where you got your sweater? You know what? I should not be giving fashion advice, right? I should just be sticking to the stock stuff. Look at me, right? Look at my sweater. All right, so on the econ docket, right? On the econ docket for today's session, obviously big things happening here pre-market. But this is, let's refresh this and get the real data. So we did have PPI demand come out this morning. It's saying delayed, but we did actually get that data. So Econoday has a little bit of a snafu this morning. Besides that, consumer confidence 10 o'clock and business inventory is 10 o'clock and pending home sales 10 o'clock. So some big things at 10 o'clock today. Be careful. 10 o'clock data is going to be an interesting one, right? Don't want to get smacked in the head today. 10 o'clock data is going to be important, okay? Let's move on. Let's go over some things today. Let's go over the charts. Well, tomorrow, just keep in mind tomorrow, guys, tomorrow we have GDP, right? So we have a full market closure on Thursday. I believe full market closure on Thursday. Friday, we have a half day. So Thursday, full market closure. Friday, half day. Wednesday, data up the wazoo, okay? It's a crazy fest on Wednesday session. Be ready to come swinging, right? Because we're gonna have the baseball coming at us in every direction. Okay, so GDP, new home sales, PMI, what the hell is going on? Wednesday session is going to be a crazy session. Be aware of that, especially on a low liquidity day before Thursday. We could see some big movements on Wednesday. Okay, let's dive into our charts, and we are gonna have a fun time here in the pre-market. Okay, SPY. So what's going on here on SPY? SPY. Essentially, on Friday, right? On Friday, you saw the signs of some real life come in, okay? Friday was a big, aggressive buy day, okay? We basically moved into a weekly demand zone, which is actually a major monthly demand zone here at 650. And if you zoom out for a second, it's important we talk about this. We moved back into an area you do not want to short back into on Friday. 650 was very important, okay? And we pushed into it, and then we reacted off of it in a way that you can clearly tell buyers were there, right? And you can look at that, and the reason why I say buyers were there is because we had a 2% equity move off the low of that 650. So buyers came in aggressively on Friday. And then on Monday's session, we continued the strength of Friday's aggression, okay? Aggression on Friday, continuation on Monday. Now, Monday was a continuation day of the uptrend we started on that Friday session, okay? Now, we've cleared some big levels here. In fact, the most important level we cleared was on Monday session was the 665 Friday's highs. 664, 665 level here in SPY is one of the most important levels here in the pre-market session. And the reason why is because if you view this now as a start of a potential uptrend here in the market, well, then here's the best play for today's session. The best play for today's session is going to be this. It's going to be up, down, and then 664 is the swing low in the market you want to see the market defend. Why is 664 so important? Well, it's because it's the Friday highs, but it's not just the Friday's highs. It's also the highs of Tuesday. It's the close price of Monday, the 17th of October. And it is the low of Friday, November 14th. So you can see here how important 664 is the market. And if we are going to be developing a swing low here on this potential uptrend we're forming here in the market, well, it's got to be down over here. And we got to look for longs back at 664 today for the upside move higher. And that's what we're looking for today. My main watch today here in the market is going to be, can we get a pullback long here to 664 for us to maintain there? Simple as that. That's my big watch today. Okay. Now, I want to get a view here on larger time frame. Now, yesterday's session, if you guys are in Honey Drip, I actually opened a pretty big position on Amazon. I'm actually long a few things right now in the market, and I bought back in. And part of the reason why I'm long, this is a short-term idea right now, right? The short-term idea here is look for pullback long here, bullish. If we lose this level, we go back down bearish, downside move, right? That's what it is. This is what it is here in the pre-market session on the intraday. Okay, the intraday is very basic. It's simple. It's defined by whether we are above or below the Friday's highs. That's what it is, right? If you want to flip short today, well, the short side move is going to be down under 664, right? That's your short side move. But in the long-term thesis here, my long-term thesis here, and I don't know if you guys care about my long-term thesis here, but my long-term idea here is I can see here that after stepping away from the market yesterday, being fully away from the market yesterday and seeing what was happening, on larger time frames, you can see here, the market is just bull flagging back into previous weekly lows, right? It's a bull flag back into previous weekly lows. Now, I'm not saying we're going to rip today. I'm not saying that, right? Just understand the difference between the ideas I'm saying here in the short term and the difference between the ideas I'm saying here in the long term. I believe here that we see probably an end of year rally. I think that we do. And I'm positioned for that, right? I'm positioned for that. I'm positioned at Amazon. You guys saw I opened Amazon longs at what time, like 9:45 yesterday in the morning. I longed a shit ton of Amazon shares. And the reason why is because I believe in this idea, right? I believe in the idea that we probably go back into 690 before year end, right? That's just what I think here. Now, the reason why is because the market's maintaining demand here at 650, and we ripped off that level. And we saw the last two times we ripped off the level, we saw continuation. So right now, my main approach here is on the long term is just hold these ideas because I think we do see a retracement back into these highs over here on the larger time frames. Now, how does that help you guys? Well, it just means this. It means, you know what? If you're viewing this market here as a market pullback, it is a market pullback to buy, right? I think it's a buyable pullback. I think we can all get involved here. Now, do I think we go into 700 plus and have a fantastic time next year? Probably, but I think probably January, February, we begin to see the market pull back into a much deeper pullback, right? But for now, this pullback is a pullback that I want to buy, and it's a pullback that I think we see back in highs again before year end, right? Let's see what happens with that idea. You can quote me on it. We'll see if I'm right. My money's there, right? My money's on this, is on the idea. Now, what I'd be looking for today's session, though, in the intraday is the 664 Friday high pullback. Again, here's an important thought, though. If you see us rally higher today for whatever reason, if we just do this today, don't be a muppet, right? Don't be the one person that goes in and starts longing back into 675. If you are trading a trend like this, right? And this is the most important thing, right? I'll show you, this is very important. If you see a stock that's doing this, right? Doing this, and then you buy calls right there, right? And then you say, the stock does this. Damn, shit, right? Oh my God, I just stopped out, right? Damn. And then you stop out of the trade. And then you say, wow, maybe this is a downtrend, right? It's not a downtrend, it's still an uptrend, right? Because why? It's holding swing lows. So the idea I'm trying to say here is don't be the person that buys into 675 today, right? Just don't do it, right? Wait for the market to pull back, right, to 664. Or if we do pull to 675 today, then look for the pullback to 670 for a long entry, right? If you see us rally at the open today, then use 670 or the highs of Monday as your base for an entry. The idea basically is have a level to guide you in your trade position. Okay, and right now it's going to be either 670 or it's going to be 664 as your long entry here. Now, one thing I want to say here though, one important thing, which is it's not so important for me in the intraday, but in the long-term idea here, I have a high here from September around 668, 667, sorry. You can see here, see this high over here? This high over here is the September 2025 high. And we are starting to develop over that here this morning. So this is like an interesting idea to have on a long-term thesis is, are we above September's highs? Because if we are, that's where I think more continuation higher comes in, right? So again, I'm not full bull bias here intraday, or I'm not, right? I could trade shorts here with a longer term bull thesis, but I just want you guys to see the larger term things here that we're seeing, okay? So let's move on. Let's go over the ES chart. Someone said, big head Brett. Let me move my face. Yes, is my face big? It's actually not that bad. It was fine. It was fine. A little bit better now. Okay, on the ES chart. ES chart, previous weekly lows here at 6530, previous weekly highs here at 6790. We have a midpoint here at 6674, right? And what I'd be saying here is, can we set up the long entry back at these lows here, right? If we can, or the highs rather. So you can see the highs produced here off the Friday highs. Well, we broke it on Monday and we didn't see the pullback yet, right? So my main watch today is going to be, do we see a little bit of a sneaky pullback long to this demand zone for an upside move? Now you could argue here that you want to be smart about this, right? And if you want to be smart about this, then adjust for the low here of that Friday, November 7th. Be smart, right? Just be smart. This is the thing I'd say, right? Have a little bit of error, right? The margin of error here. And the margin of error you can extend back down to Friday, the 7th lows. And that's your demand today, right? So if you look for longs intraday, it's got to be some sort of hold here at this demand zone, right? This is your top watch today, right? Pull back long here, upside move. If we fail below this level today, then I think we go back down lower into these lows here. I'm not all bull bias here, right? Don't perceive everything I'm saying as pure bull bias. It is level based, but right now the idea is mostly bullish, but this can flip, right? If we fail back below the Friday, November the 7th lows, right? Then we go back lower into 6530, back into the weekly lows, which would be a decent downside drop here. So again, you have colossal highs here, right? Colossal highs, colossal lows, and a midpoint in the middle, which is your gauge, your temperature gauge this morning. Are we above it? If so, bullish. Or below it? If so, bearish. That's what it is today here on the ES chart. QQQ, same idea, right? All comes down to that Friday, the highs here. And you can see here, interesting enough, that the Friday, that the lows here from Friday, November 7th is actually higher than the highs of Friday, the 21st of November, right? Not so important, but just an interesting thing to see here, right? But this is the demand zone we have, right? The demand zone is right here. And you can see if you're on the intraday, on the 15-minute time frame, maybe a bit better, you can see here, there is an uptrend off of these lows. But all we've done so far is move back into this big supply, right? This big supply is right above us. It's looming. It's sitting right there, 614 in the Qs. You don't want to be the first person to do this. You don't want to say this. Here's what you don't want to do, right? If you buy calls here, right, you lose what? $1, right? You lose $1, you stop out, you lose 10, 20, 15% at a maximum probably, right? Damn, you lost money. Shit, right? What if you do it over here though? If you buy calls over here, what do? What's your risk? Your risk is probably back into Monday's highs, right? Back into Monday's highs. Therefore, you're risking probably 70% for a very minimum upside move, right? So the idea I'm trying to say here is long back into demand zones or long back into the high of Monday if we do clear that level out, right? That's what we're looking for today. Either this or I'm looking for a little bit of this action, right? Monday's highs, important intraday level, not so critical on the 1 hour, not so critical on the 4 hour daily, but you could trade off that level today, off that Monday's highs, okay? Important level to have here in the pre-market session. So let's move on. Let's go over some other tickers. Let's look over the market. Let's go over first ticker today's session, Amazon. So Amazon, here's the thing. Amazon's holding pretty well, okay? So I'm going to show you what I'm watching, like my main watches this morning, and Amazon's one of my main watches. The reason why it's one of my main watches is because it's holding a very important level, right? On Thursday, the 30th, you saw that big crazy upside move, right, after earnings. We pulled back to it. We saw some failures lower, some reclaims, some failures lower, some reclaims. Now today we are above 223. So my mindset here at Amazon is we are bullish as long as we are above these lows over here at 215. So I'm looking at this as a larger uptrend here. And again, downtrend has been there for a while, but we are breaking the downtrend now. So my view is look for have a long here with a $10 stop and a TP back at 258. So my longer term thesis here is this. It's simply just build a long-term position, right, with a stop loss under. Now it seems wide, but it's not that wide. You're just risking $10 here on shares. So you risk $10 here, or really $8, right? And your reward is back into the highs over here, back into what is this, 258 and change. So that's my equity play here on Amazon. We'll see what happens with it. But again, in the short term, I'll be looking for us to build about 230. If we can build about 230, this is where things become frothy, right? Above 230 for longs, I'm looking for an upside move here on this trade. 230 for longs, bam, upside move, right? So intraday, 230 has to break. Long-term idea, still valid, okay? Let's move on to go over Apple. Okay, Apple chart. Apple chart also very strong yesterday. Apple had a really nice day yesterday, it looked like. You can see here on the intraday, pretty aggressive move off the open, right? You can see lows to highs, 2.3. I wouldn't say that aggressive, actually. But we did produce a very strong level here. We've been producing a strong level here at 276. You can see here, 276, a very important level has developed here at these highs. And you can see that if we do get above these highs here, highs and highs and highs and highs, we should see the explosive move back into 285. So if we do want to long this today, which I think we could do, but it has to be above those highs, it's going to be here on the break, a retest of 275, or sorry, 270, what is this? 276.50, right? 276.50 is the exact level for an upside move, right? So that's what I'm watching today's session here in Apple. We have a consolidation highs for upside move. We have to clear these highs. Now, where does it flip back bearish? If we lose under, here's important. This is important because we have to talk about these things. If we lose under 271, sorry, see this low, the low here from yesterday's open. See this low here? Go back to the 5-minute. If we fail back under this low right here, under the Monday's lows, then we can flip back to a bear bias. 270.8 is the exact level of Monday's lows. I know it's not a psychological level. I know it's not a whole number, but that's the level I have here. 270.8 is the most important level for bulls to maintain. So here's the thing. If we pull back today and do this, it's still bullish, right? But if you can fail back below 270.8, this is a downside break that I would take part of and be a participant in, right? This is what I'd be looking for. A break under 270.8 for puts, or a break and hold above 276.5 for longs. That's what I'm looking for today's session. Either upside break or downside failure, right? Again, Apple is strong, but again, we're back at a supply here, right? It's strong, but we're back at a supply. And this is the thing. You have to understand strength is good, but context is king, right? Strength is good, but context is king. Look at the past few times you've seen the strength. Strength, 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 strength. Is it different this time than it has been before, once and twice and 3 times and 4 times and 5 times? Is it any different this time? We've seen recently what has happened to Apple's strength into resistance. Again, the context is key. The resistance is there. Go back to the intraday here, right? Go back to the intraday here on this exact session. Look at this chart right here on perhaps the 5-minute chart. You can see exactly what I'm talking about. Wow, the strength, right? The momentum behind the move. But again, context is king. 276.5 is your big supply zone here in Apple, and that's what resulted in downside, right? Looks super strong even to me, right? Look, that looks great for calls, right? But then context is king, big downside move, and it fails back lower into close, right? So that's the idea here is don't be long back into resistance no matter how strong it is on the intraday, right? And so yesterday's session, big strength, but again, it's not breaking the level yet. So wait for it to clear. If it clears, upside or downside break continuation, okay? That is Apple. Nvidia. So Nvidia is not doing well, right? Nvidia is not doing well. And part of the reason why Nvidia is not doing well is because of the chip news. So you guys probably are all aware of it. I was not aware of it this morning because I was all away from this stuff. But Nvidia has suffered, right? Why is it suffering? It's suffering because Google Google was chosen as Meta's best friend, right? So Meta's best friend is now Google. They're going to be supplying chips. And Google, or rather Nvidia, is losing a little bit of basically losing market share for that reason, right? So a little bit of some competition between Nvidia and Google, and I think the reason why you're seeing this downside is because of that, right? And look at Google this morning. Google this morning is obviously very strong, right? So very opposite charts. You have Google moving straight up higher. And if you do a cross comparison here, right, just do a comparison to Nvidia here, you're going to see straight back down lower, right? So while this is going up, this is going down, okay? So an interesting discrepancy here between Google and Nvidia, okay? So back to Nvidia for a second. What am I watching here in Nvidia? So Nvidia is weak in a strong market. I don't like that. In fact, if I were to watch anything in Nvidia, it's probably a short, right? I would look for the shorts back down under 173. You can see here, we have a low produced here, a double bottom low here at 173. And if we can clear below it, I would look for shorts all the way back into possibly 168.7, right? Back into these lows over here, 164. So Nvidia is a name I don't want to get involved in longs right now. I mean, as long as we're under 180, it's short-sided. It looks heavy. And then especially under 173, things accelerate. And we go back down lower to 164. So my mindset here on Nvidia is probably look for shorts, look for the pop and fade short, look for the breakdown short under lows, right? Could this prevent the upside today in the market, right? I mean, if you see Nvidia breaking down, then the bullish ideas that I've given on SPY intraday, they may not work, right? So keep an eye on Nvidia this morning. Nvidia is a huge component of the S&P 500. It's a huge component of QQQ, okay? So understand Nvidia 173, very important level this morning, and probably a chart we should all be watching on. Even if you have no intention of trading Nvidia, it's an important watch to have here in the pre-market session, okay? And the same idea here in NVIDIA is you have AMD, and AMD is no different this morning. AMD is still weak. AMD looks weak as hell, all right? And the reason why is because you have some tech names winning and some tech names losing. And at least in the short term here, AMD is losing. And so is NVIDIA. They're both losing market share. And so right now we are under that, we're actually at the 200 level here on NVIDIA, sorry, on AMD. But here's my view is, I think eventually we do pull back to this major retest level, right? You see these highs over here once and twice and big breakout upside move. Well, I know that we have all the downside pressure here and we have a lot of news impacting AMD here this morning. But I do think that we get the major retest level. The major retest level is 187. If we can fail back lower 187, we can look for the upside. We can look for the bounce there, right? I know this is probably there's a lot of downside pressure here. If you want to short it under 200, you can do it. There's downside between 200 to 187. You can do that, right? Under 187, you can short. Sorry, under 200, you can short it back at 187. But you don't want to be a dweeb and start shorting back into 187 because 187 is the major retest level and the breakout level that we had from the major I forget the news here, but there was crazy news here in AMD. I forget what it actually was, but obviously this level is still untested. So if we do pull back this 187 level, I think we get a nice long entry there. So for me, I know it's far away, but 187 bounce today. Okay, that's my AMD chart. Let's move on, guys. Let's go over a few more names. What's strong though, right? So I mean, if you want to talk about we're talking about the shitters, right? Let's talk about the Google. Let's talk about the Google. I mean, Google is a name that we have not spoken about very often. And if there's one thing that I can say that I probably was wrong about, right, at least in the tech rally of 2025, it's been Google. Google is a name that I never bought. Google is a name that, in fact, people used to tell me, Brett, can you buy Google? Brett, would you buy Google in your portfolio when it was where? Where was Google? Google was all the way Google was all the way in like sub 200. People were asking me to buy Google, and I said, don't buy Google. So, I mean, I was wrong about Google. I'll say that firmly. I was wrong about Google. Now, I was right about many other things, but very wrong about Google. And Google this morning is super strong. Google is super strong, and it's maintaining itself beautifully. And if you look at this, like a year-to-date performance here, let's look at the year-to-date performance here in Google. I know you guys probably don't care about it, but we should talk about these things. Look at Google. Let's go back to 2024, okay, and right into 2025 year end, right into December 26th, December 31st. Okay, so right about here is where the year ended. And you can see from where we are right now, I know it's not perfect, but let's just argue 196 and change is where this year ended, okay? And you can see where we're at right now. We are about 70% year-to-date here on Google, almost 70% year-to-date on Google. Crazy upside move here year-to-date on Google. Google is winning here today, right? Obviously, big news with Meta, and Google is strong. Let's do a resetter here, and let's talk about where the levels are on Google. So obviously, major retest level here is at 306. If we do get that, it's a big retest level, 306, even all the way down to these highs over here, 306 down to 300. This is a huge demand. So if you are looking for pullback longs, that's your big pullback long spot, okay? It's a big pullback long spot here on Google. If we do get that, obviously it's a major long, right? But I don't know if we'll get that because obviously we're just staying higher here. In the short term, so long-term idea is pull back to there, right? 306, if you get that level, it's a very beautiful demand zone. Watch the thrust, 306 and change, right? That's your pullback long, okay? But if we do just keep rallying, The next pullback long spot I have here is going to be the highs of our Monday session. Where's the highs of Monday session? Well, it's right here, right? It's 319.50 or 320 basically. So my second pullback long spot's right here in Google. So if you're looking for longs, look for longs at this demand zone, okay? Look for longs right here. If you pull back there today, that's your pullback long today on this bounce, right? Opportunity number one and opportunity number two. Those are the only things I have here on Google's chart here this morning. Let's talk about who else is winning, right? Because it's important that we understand the story of each open. And the story this morning is Google strong. But there's going to be another winner, right? There has to be other winners. The SMH in general is just flat. TSM is strong, so TSM perhaps is a winner, right? So you have some names that are weak and some names that are strong. TSM is actually holding well. Why is TSM holding so well? I don't know, but it is holding well. So TSM is obviously perhaps doing well with this news. Avgo, very strong. Avgo, wow. Avgo also very strong. Let me lower the volume here. Avgo also very strong, but back at a key level of resistance here, 392, very key level of resistance, very big supply zone. Be careful at 392 today. Okay, let's go back into some other charts. Let's go into Tesla. Tesla. So intraday yesterday, upside move, oversupply, 4 and 5 reclaimed. If I were here yesterday, I would have told you guys to look for the breaking retest above 4 and 5. And would it have worked, right? I mean, it kind of would have worked, but it didn't really do much, right? 4 and 5 broke, upside, little upside, and then failed back down lower into our close. So nothing crazy here in Tesla yesterday, but your major pivot here in Tesla is actually still 4 and 5. So I don't really see a play here today, guys, in Tesla. I really don't see a play here. 4 and 5 is a bull bear pivot though. Above 4 and 5 bullish, below 4 and 5 bearish. Let's see what happens here today in Tesla. If you want to trade it, right, look for 4 and 5 to fail. If it fails, look for downside. That could be a short today, right? Keep 4 and 5 as your basis today. If we're above it, bullish. If we're below it, bearish. Let's go over LLY. People are saying LLY. Eli Lilly. Look, these charts like this. These are charts you just want to dip by long term, right? Eli Lilly, obviously a very strong name. Okay, can you buy it here? You can't buy it here, right? If you're gonna buy, it's got to be in some sort of pullback long. The pullback long spot I'd watch for the first buy would be 970, right? 970 on larger time frames is a nice demand to be watching out for. So keep that on the back burner. But 970 is the only long spot I have. Big daily level here, big daily bull flag here that presented a major upside move. So let's watch 970 for longs. SoFi, did you guys trade SoFi? We spoke about this, and so look. If you came to the pre-market, you know exactly what I talked about. If you traded SoFi on Friday session, one of the first things I said was Friday morning was I'm buying SoFi, right? I think we said Thursday. I don't know if I said Thursday or Friday, but Thursday into close. No, I definitely didn't say Thursday because that was when it was all the way here at highs. But Friday, that's when I said it, right? We said we're buying SoFi at 24 a share, about at 24 a share. I wish I bought options on this because I didn't buy options, but we're already up on this nicely, right? Almost 14% equity move here on SoFi in just 2 days worth of price action. SoFi long term looks really good. Where does it go to? Probably goes back in 32 again. Does it break it? I don't know. Okay, but 32 is the next big level. Demand below here 24. Every time we pull back, I buy more. That's all it is for me. If it pulls back more, I'd be happy. I'd be happy. I'd be smiling I'd be smiling because I want this. I want more shares on this, right? So just keep that in mind. But right now, I'm gonna hold this and be happy with it. Okay. So what am I missing? I feel like we've gone over like every big ticker this morning, right? Let's go over Palantir, PLTR. Do a little PLTR this morning, a little PLTR action. We have 1,000 people here pre-market, by the way. 1,000 people here pre-market. I have 15.7 thousand subscribers, which is pretty bad. And 313 likes, which is very bad. It's abysmal, actually. Let's get the like count up, guys. Like count up. I'm here every single morning besides yesterday. Okay, Palantir. Let's do Palantir. So on the PLTR chart, what are we watching here in Palantir? Well, Palantir is weak, right? Palantir is weak. It's under 170, right? Palantir is still bullish as long as it holds 170. Okay, well, what did Palantir do? Well, Palantir broke 170, right? It broke 170, broke 170, it broke 170, broke 170, downside, right? Now, as long as Palantir is under 170, it is bear-sided for me, okay? Where does it move to? Probably goes to 150. So at this point, every pop and fade, every pop is a faded move, right? So look for 170 to pop and fade. I'd look for breakdowns under 150.58 for puts, right? If we break under the Friday's highs here, right? Intraday, this is the big thing intraday, right? See this Friday's highs here? Friday's highs is at 158. Well, that's your level we have to break. So for me, I'd be watching either this or I'm watching this. That's what it is, right? Those are the two things I'm watching. And if we get back above 170, you know, what are we? We're back bullish again, right? Because this is the big statement we have here, right? But as of right now, it is bearish under 170, okay? Let's move on. What else do we have here? Let's do one last ticker. Let's do Schmeta. So Meta chart obviously moving up higher here with the news. There's some big stuff happening on the tech side. Lots of things happening on the side here. Okay, where's wow, this is a crazy chart. You guys long this yesterday, right? I saw you guys were long Meta yesterday. You guys were long Meta like at 600 yesterday, and today we're at 624 here pre-market. So where's this going now? I mean, you can see here. Let's do a reset. The big level we had here was there. 603 is your big level. Okay, you can see the lows of that Friday 7th, right? Bam, bam. Okay, so you know it's a very important level here. The big level here is there, right? That's the big level. Okay, and where's your supply zone? Your supply is right here. So you're not far from your supply this morning. So as much as I want to say that's long Meta today, we're far from our demand, and we're getting closer and closer to supply. So this becomes a chart where I mean, I always say this in Meta, but it's a chart we can't really touch right now, right? I think it does go here though. I strongly believe this goes to 635. I think that's where it goes to. But the problem is where's your entry? Where's your entry between big supply and big demand? And I'm not going to make up levels in between here. I'm not going to do that, right? There is previous highs here. But what is 616 here, which is the Monday's highs. If you want to get crazy with it, actually, you know what? This is a level to watch. Looking more at this chart, and this is why charting live with you guys, you see more things here, right? Look how important this level is. You can see the lows here from Tuesday 11th to the highs here Wednesday 12th, the highs here the 13th. You can see how important this level is right here. So this is absolutely an important level, right? I just said I wouldn't make up levels as I'm making up a level, right? But this is the level. I'm not making it up, right? You can see it. It is the level to watch, right? So if you want to look for longs today here, Meta, you can look for the pullback long here at 617, okay? 617 pullback long spot. That's your big thing to watch here going into our morning, okay? Meta, thank you very much, Meta. Thanks, Bear, for all you do for us. That is very kind of you. Thank you for the words, and thank you for the 5 or 4. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Okay, so. Guys, that's it for me today. Listen, it's a beautiful Tuesday session. Enjoy your week, right? Trade smart. Don't give back gains in a holiday season, right? Look, we had a great week last week. I had a great week last week. You guys probably did as well if you came here to pre-market prepared. We had a good week last week. This week, we're just continuing the strength from last week, and we're going to be ending the holiday season nice and green every day, right? That's our goal. Guys, enjoy your week. Enjoy your day. I'll see you all on live, okay? Bye, guys.